Welcome to another episode of Teradata TechBytes. My name is Tim Miller, and I'm on the Advanced Analytics Product Management team at Teradata. This is the third part of a four-part series on Analytics Library. In this episode, I will show you how you can use the Analytics Library to do data preparation and feature engineering. So now let's get into the data transformations. We've talked a little bit about this, but just to quickly review, what this allows you to do is a combination of things, from binning, represent a continuous data element as a bin number, do formula derivations, doing one-hot encoding or design coding your values, doing null value imputation either against the raw data or as a result of one of these transformations, do label encoding, do rescaling. You can retain variables and you do transformations in a statistical nature such as sigmoid and z-score. Let me go through these, and let me say also that we're going to be using a combination to do the joining and the transforming and the engineering of the data that we need to actually solve this use case, which is propensity to open up a credit card account. We're going to use a combination of these analytic library functions as well as what comes with teradataml out of the box, which is some pandas functionality as well as SQL alchemy. But first, let's start with the analytic library functions. I'm going to set this variable here to be basically specify that if a transformation that I'm going to do results in a null, I want to instead replace it with a median value. And then I use that in these first set of transformations. The first two of which are binning my data. So I want to bin income, I want to bin age, and I give it the number of bins I want to do and the type. I want to one-hot encode my gender variable, my marital status variable, and my state code variable. I also want to do some null value imputation based on the years with the bank and the number of children, and call those tote custodians and tote children, just in case there's any nulls in there. And then finally, I want to label encode or recode my state codes, because I don't want to have all 50 state codes in there. I want to have my top 6 or 7 here, and then I want to default everything else to a state called other. So lump all those other states into one thing. Then the transformation call is pretty simple. I pass it in the data frame. I say what I want to do it from a bin perspective, which is up here, my incomes and my age. What I want to do for a one-hot encoding, which I'm going to do gender, marital status, and state code. What I want to do from just simply doing null value replacement or label encoding here. And then I specify what the key column is. And you can see here, once I run this, I get the beginning of my analytic data set, right? Where I've got income bins from 1 to 100, age bins 1 to 25. I get the indicator variables for males and females, single, married, separated, widowed. I get indicator variables for both the states, and then I carried forward my my state code as well. In other TechBytes, we've actually separated this into two data sets. Now we're going to keep these indicator variables and these state codes and just use one or the other for our examples. Next, we're going to use Vantage Analytic Library again here to do one-hot encoding on these account types. So if it's a credit card, if it's checking or savings, we want to create indicator variables for that. And we also want to carry forward our starting balance and our ending balance and do null value replacement on those using the median values. There's my transform call again. And now I want to calculate basically an average type of a balance for each of my account types. And that's what this code does here. And so you can see I've got my indicator variables, and then I got my CC balance, my CK balance, my SV balance. So this is more data than I need, but I'm going to keep it in this form into these 3 different data frames and then really join those all together. So next what I want to do is I want to have some quarterly transaction counts, right? And so what I do is I extract the month out of the transaction date, and then I say, hey, if it's 1, 2, or 3, it's in Q1. Otherwise, it's Q2, Q3, Q4, etc. And so you can see what I get here is basically an encoded representation that I'm then going to use when I join this together to sum all of those things together. So the first join I'm going to do is customers to accounts, and I'm going to do a left outer join. and I'm joining basically my customers to my account tables to bring forward those account indicator variables as well as overall average balances. And so you can see here where I'm getting my indicator variables and then I'm getting my balances. Next, I want to join that to my transaction. So what I just joined together to my transaction table. And it's important to keep in mind what I'm doing right here. I'm doing in Python, and I'm setting everything up to have SQL generated and then blasted out into the Vantage platform and done in the most efficient way possible. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an average of my principal and my interest based on the transaction code, my account indicator expression, and again, do a left outer join to the transaction table. And you can see what I get here. And then my final step is going to be to aggregate everything together. And so although these things really don't need to be aggregated, they're just indicator variables. I'm just going to do a kind of a SQL trick and just do a max on those. Otherwise, I can't do a group by. And then I'm going to get the mean values on those balances, the transaction amounts, as well as the Q1 through Q4 transaction types. And then because this does a little renaming for me, which I didn't like, I'm going to go ahead and rename my variables to what I want them to be through this assign statement here. And then this is kind of my final analytic data set. I got customer IDs, I got an income bins, I got age bins, the years they've been with me as a customer, how many children they have, their indicators of their gender, their marital status, their state code, these average transaction amounts, average balance amounts, and then Q1 through Q4. I think there's a total of 30 columns there. So next, let's look at the matrix functions that we have, and we leverage the calc matrix table operator that's been in Teradata for quite some time. That's the most powerful way that we've found to build correlation, covariance, and just sum of squares and cross product matrices. And the call is pretty simple. I'm just going to use all the columns, but I'm going to exclude the state code. And I get a tabular report with all of the correlation values in it, which looks cool. But I can graph it in a variety of ways, right? I can graph it just this kind of color-coded heat map way where I drag over and I actually get my actual correlation value. And you can see I got one along the edges here. Or I like this one a little bit better. I have a combination of color as well as the actual value that's sitting there. It's another way to show it. Or finally, I can have both. Options are endless for what you can do with plotting in Python. And then finally, the old group by. So now I'm going to say I want to generate correlation matrix, but actually let me generate all of them, one for every state code, right? So my 8 state codes or my 7 state codes plus the other, and then we can see what that looks like here. Thank you for watching part 3 of the TechBytes series on the Analytics Library. Join me for the final episode of the series when I'll be demonstrating predictive model creation, evaluation, and scoring using a logistic regression. Thank you and have a nice day.